Hey guys, today we're going to be snapping out a house, which means chalking the lines that your walls and your sill plate go on. This is a very important step of the house. In this video, we're going to be explaining things like squaring corners, measuring over drops, and double checking your work so you know that everything is spot on. So let's get into it. Okay, so getting ready to chalk out this house, we have a SketchUp here. And this is just a rough SketchUp, but you can see that we have the two longest runs right here. So this is what we're going to be squaring up. This one we can walk right beside. So to start this layout, we're going to pull 5.5 off of the outer edge of this concrete, here and here, and we're going to chalk this line on top of the wall. Now this only works because we know that from here to here is what it's supposed to be. If this was a little bit short and we would be overhanging here, we would want to account for that. Let's say we're sticking over an inch here. If our sill, let's say this run is 100 feet and we're going to be hanging over an inch off this wall, we might want to shift it back half an inch this way. So then to shift it back, we would only pull over 5 inches here and here. That would mean we overhang our sill plate a half an inch this way and a half inch this way. In this scenario, the concrete is so good that we're chalking 5.5 right here on our longest run. And now we're going to square off of this line for this run. Now I want to be really clear. This is the only time we're pulling directly off of the concrete for 5.5. Every other line we chalk is going to be copy and pasting the print, the exact measurements of the print off of this line. So we're going to pull these runs, square off of this line. Everything is based on the print after this first line. Now let's hop back outside and continue chalking. Next we're going to be pulling our square run off of this long run here. This will square up the entire house with how we do it. You only have to square one corner on layouts like this. So this run right here has a step down in it. And that step down is about 27 feet out. So we take 27 and we're going to make that our 3. If you're interested in learning the actual real detailed 3, 4, 5 method, click up here. So 27 is our short run. We're going to use that as a 3. So our multiple is 9. Our 4 is going to be 36. 4 times 9 is 36. So we'll show you how we do this. So this is one of the only other areas that we're going to pull directly off the concrete. It's going to be 5.5 perpendicular to this line, or in line with this line, so that we make it an X. This X is what we pull our 3, 4, 5 off of. Okay, we're going to be burning a foot on this X, just like all the other times. So we're going to pull 36, which means burning a foot. We're at 37. So we're going to make another X right here. That's 36 feet. Okay, so we're going 27 here, 3 times 9. Burning a foot, 28. And this is where we make the arc. So we want to line our pencil up with 28. We want to make an arc because we don't know where square is yet. So there's right on the line, 27 feet. So he's going to that second X we made and he's going to hold the 1 foot right on it. So we're going 45 feet. 5 times 9, 45. So this is a really hard one because the wind and the sag of the tape. But we're going to make an arc at 45 feet. He's burning a foot, so instead of 45, we're going to mark 46. There's our arc. Boom. So we'll see how square this concrete is here. Look at this. Look at this. Right on our X, we're at 5 7/16. So that means this concrete is within a 16th of square. That's incredible. So we're going to make sure that this mark is very visible. And we're going to chalk our line right through this X. And that will square up this whole corner. So next thing we're going to do is carry this line down over this drop and then across to here. That way, our square corner will encompass the entire house. So every line we pull will be parallel with one of those two square lines. This means that every single corner in the house is square off of one single corner. You gotta do this on every house. To carry this line down, we're gonna hook a chalk line on the line we just snapped. Then we're gonna carry it out and hold a level. So Tyler's gonna line up this line so that when I'm holding it, it will be right over top. And you'll see how we do that. And then we'll make a mark, snap this out. So right here, I'm trying to do three things at once. So right now we're level. Tyler, when I say level, you tell me if we're good. Right there. So I add the level right on the 5.5 mark down here, just as an eyeball to see if that's where we were. And it actually lines up perfectly. As soon as Tyler saw that we were on the line, I saw that we were level, and it's just a quick glance. So we're gonna transfer this chalk line down here with the level, and then we're gonna connect our dots across, not just to the end of this wall, but we're gonna go all the way across to the other side of the house so that these square lines encompass the whole house. I'm using my square here to stay above the concrete over there so that when it's down low, it doesn't drag and get stuck. So I'm lining up that line that we made earlier, which, Tyler, where is it? So I'm gonna be over there holding the chalk line. I'm gonna line it up so that it's right on top of this because we don't have a mark over there yet. So we're gonna connect the dots, chalk it. Okay, I'm looking at that line over there. I'm staying above the concrete, using my square so that I don't rub it on the concrete. Once I'm lined up, I go down to the bottom of the square and chop. So this is a true test of what we just did. Doesn't always work out. So right here to our line, we are 53 and a big 3/8. And then over here on the mark that we carried across, we are 53 and 3/8. So this is good concrete and good chalk lines. So next, we're gonna pull parallel lines off of everything. This first line right here, it's parallel out to this wall. It's a 4-foot bump out. So we're gonna go 4 feet off of our 5.5 line. That's gonna be our 5.5 line for right here. If you're getting any value out of this video, all I ask is that you subscribe. Now we're gonna go to the garage and we're gonna do a parallel run in line with that front wall off of this back run. We'll show you how. So we're gonna be pulling 41 feet. That's our distance from the back wall to the front wall over there. The front wall is only there, but this will give us a parallel line for everything else. Now, instead of burning a foot, since we're pulling parallel, I'm only gonna go to 41. We're not gonna burn a foot. We'll show you how. Because when I'm reading the print, I don't wanna have to think about 41 minus a foot or plus a foot. I just wanna be able to read the print, get the numbers I need, and do that exact number. It's too confusing to do anything else. So he's gonna be holding 5.5 inches right on that line so that he is actually on the outside of the house. So that way, I can mark 41 and it's right where we need to be. Now, when we chalk this, that's the outside. So I'm gonna go back 5.5 inches so that we get our chalk line to go across, which I just know is 6.5 on the tape measure. Here's 41, this is the outside of the house. 5.5 inches back is always 6.5 on the tape from a whole foot. So this is our chalk line. Okay, now we're gonna pull parallel from that first long run we chalked to the complete opposite side of the house. Again, he's holding 5.5 on the chalk line so that I don't have to think about burning a foot, because I'm reading these numbers right off the print, and I don't want to have to think. Okay, pulling tight. Are you good? Okay, we're a 16th inset. So we were short with the level, so we're gonna overhang. So we'll go just shy of 5.5 will be our line that we chalk. We're gonna do that again on the other corner. Snap this line. When you chalk your lines on your corners, run them all the way out to the edge of the concrete. That will help when you mark your sill out and put your sill down. Next, Tyler and I are gonna pull parallel off of all these. That was very loud, Bird. Tyler and I are gonna pull parallel off of these lines. We're gonna do the whole front of the house off the back. We're gonna pull any other parallel lines off of these lines. Then that way we know everything's square. Right here, we're gonna be 23 from this edge to the back right there. And that's very important because the floor trusses are already built to this. So if you look here, we have an 8-inch wide concrete wall and we're 1/2 inch short. So we are not gonna go to the concrete. We are going to go 23 as the front of our sill and 6.5 is 5.5 back. So this is not following the concrete, this is following the print because that's what the trusses are built to. So we got done chalking out all the parallel lines. We did all the front ones off the back wall. And we did all these ones off that side wall. So all the way over here, we wanted to double check our work. So we checked square on this corner. The only way this corner is square is if the parallel line off that and the parallel line off that are perfectly parallel, because those two lines are parallel. So when we check square on this, on a 6, 8, 10, we were 1/4 inch short. So to understand what exactly was going on, we always draw a picture to really understand why things are that way. So if we draw a triangle right here, if this corner is less than 90 degrees, which we know that because this is short, this is less than 10, so it's squishing the triangle. So what we want to do is make this 10 longer because it was actually 9/11 3/4. So the only way to make this measurement longer is if this line comes out or if this line goes in. So we rechecked these measurements here and here, and we pulled the tape as tight as we could. We rechecked it and did as well as we could, and we actually had to move this one about 1/4 inch and this one just over 1/8. So that squared up our corner and it got our truss runs the right length, which is actually the most important part. You want the actual line, exterior walls, to be exactly what the print says, because that's where your trusses span, floor and roof. So we went back, we fixed that, found the error, we put a black line on all of the ones that we fixed so that we know to go to the black line and not the blue if there's a black line there. Now everything's square all the way from front to back, and we know everything is the exact right dimension based on the truss plan and the house print. Hey, it's Jaden from the future here. We just wanted to show you that these floor trusses landed perfectly on this sill plate here. And that only happened because we took the time and checked our work and adjusted these lines. So now there won't be a slight bump in the drywall or anything. Everything's just gonna flush up real well here. And that's why we take our time and do it right. It just makes the whole rest of the build process go faster. A bit more on why we fixed this line here and checked our work is a lot of people, when they do this part of the house, they'll go right off the concrete. But you can see here that we're actually overhanging by 7/16 off the front. And it's very important to completely ignore the concrete when you're framing. You want to actually copy and paste the print. Everything should be square, everything should be parallel, and everything should be the right dimensions. Because the entire rest of the house is literally built off of this one board. Your floor trusses, your cabinet layouts, your ceiling, your roof, everything. It affects every trade. So it's really important to take your time and get it right. Our tolerances for this are within a 1/4 inch. That includes the longest run, every line. It needs to be a 1/4 inch at worst. Another tolerance I want to mention is that often this concrete isn't perfect, most of the time. So we have to overhang the sill plate or inset the sill plate in areas. Now our tolerances for the overhanging the sill plate is 1 inch maximum. If we are more than 1 inch, even balancing it out by shifting that inch to be balanced on both sides, we're going to call the general and just make sure that we can overhang more than 1 inch. Sometimes we're insetting. Insetting, we've gone up to 1/2 inch. We haven't had to do much more than that. One time the concrete was poured 4 inches too big on a bump out right here. So we had to frame a wall behind on top of the footing so that it could actually carry our sill plate. No matter what, just make sure that your sill plate matches the print exactly. Another thing I forgot to mention is that if these numbers, when we're pulling them, they're not always on the print, and you kind of have to do some really hard math. So we just pull them off the truss plan because we know that's exactly what it needs to be at. So it's a lot easier to just get some of these numbers from the truss plan. Always make sure that the print and the truss plan are saying the same dimensions when you do that. The next board that goes on is the sill plate, which literally the entire rest of the house is based off of. Even all the other trades work off of that board indirectly. In my opinion, what we did today is the most important part of the framer's job. If you do this right, it's going to save you so much time the rest of the framing job and for all the trades after that. Not only that, but it is just a higher quality product that people will really appreciate. So take your time and do it right.